if Kickstarter is the Apple of crowdfunding, then Indiegogo is the Android. A question I get asked a lot is, what's better to launch a campaign, Kickstarter or Indiegogo? So today I thought I'd go over a few things. I'll go over Kickstarter, kind of what they are as a company, what they are as a brand, advantages and disadvantages. Indiegogo, advantages, disadvantages, what they are as a brand. And then at the end, I'll give my opinion of what I would do if I was launching a campaign today. So let's start it off with Kickstarter. Just looking at their website, right? They're very minimal, lots of white space. They're the Apple, right? They're the Apple of crowdfunding. It's clean. All their graphics, all the branding is really on point. They really aim to attract that type of campaign as well as that type of backer. In terms of advantages of using Kickstarter, they're the biggest crowdfunding platform in the world, right? They're consistently in the top 1,000 websites for most traffic. They get tons of eyeballs. They have more registered users. They've done more. In the last day, they've raised $2.9 million towards creative work, 31,000 backings. I think that's a really good stat. And it's a good representation of what Kickstarter is. They have everybody, right? So many people are on Kickstarter now. It's a brand name that you can bring up at a bar, that you can bring up with a new friend, that you can bring up on a date. People know what it is, right? It's a concept that people are familiar with, and it's something that a lot of people can get behind. People can feel safe using it. In terms of what kinds of projects work best for Kickstarter, let's take a look at trending projects on the site. So they do board games, a lot of board games, plays, music, arts, theater. A lot of that stuff does really well on Kickstarter, relatively, right? They have a wider reach. You look at the board games, there's just a ton, right? Board games do very well. Well-designed products do very well. Everyday carry type stuff, well-designed pens, right? Once again, more games. Certainly if you're launching a board game, which some of our customers have, this is the place you want to do it, right? If you're launching a play, a book, this is the spot. On top of that, like I said earlier, there's just tons of traffic. There's tons of advantages to using Kickstarter. Now let's talk about the disadvantages. The disadvantages are not that friendly, right? And I'll get into this on the flip side with Indiegogo, but we've as a company have been in this space for a very long time, right? When these companies were starting to take off, I had conversations with leadership and told them the problems that I saw from a manufacturing point of view, right? There's a lot of campaigns that don't deliver, that because of incompetence, just don't ever deliver their product to the backers. And I told Kickstarter and Indiegogo that this was going to be a problem. Kickstarter wasn't as willing to get on the phone, right? They did. And they do list us as a partner, but they're a bit harder to get a hold of. They don't provide a ton of support. They don't provide a ton of back-end usability features for campaigners. There's just not a lot of support. And for the most part, successful campaigns are driving their own traffic. That's true across the board, but more so with Kickstarter. You're gonna have to basically get the eyeballs onto your campaign yourself. There's a tipping point. Once you get to a certain point, right? Maybe your project's very cool. You get projects we love by the Kickstarter staff. You get in the newsletter, you find your way into this trending category. There's things that they do, but for the most part, I would give them a C- when it comes to support for backing. Overall, I think Kickstarter is easily the best platform. It is tons of traffic, like I've said multiple times. It gets lots of people looking at your project. It's clean, and most important, it's a trusted platform. So there you go, there's Kickstarter. Moving on to Indiegogo. So if you look at Indiegogo, even on their main site, it's just a little awkward, right? It doesn't look like as clean of a setup for the website. To me, the branding is a little, not, like I said, not as clean, not as cool. But Indiegogo is for tech, right? Right on the front, you can see, well, now that I said that, of course, it changed to a smoker, but that's still tech. you know, all of these projects, with the exception of this, are all very tech heavy, right? It's a bit more of a geekier platform, and I mean that in a positive way. You have a much more tech-centric platform with Indiegogo, and you're going to find that the backers there are going to be more the type that are in Reddit, that are following, you know, within a tech-based community and really helping to push some of the features. So I think Indiegogo is a bit more focused on features, and tech, and delivering, you know, maybe a less polished version, but a little bit crazier, outside the box, right? If Kickstarter is the Apple of crowdfunding, then Indiegogo is the Android. There's a lot of stuff going on. They provide a lot of back-end support. They're very involved. You know, they can give you a look into the back end to help you support your own campaign. You know, again, it's back to the Kickstarter conversation. When I first started the company, I hit up the Indiegogo guys and they said, come over. I went over there on a Thursday night. You know, I ended up drinking, you know, having beers with them and hanging out with them all night and talking about problems, discussing, you know, they put us right into their hardware handbook. They were very involved. Now, I know it's been a few years, leadership's all obviously changed. But at the time, and still, I think the common knowledge in the crowdfunding community is Indiegogo is much more involved with the projects, much more likely to give you a boost if you need it. If you're set up, if you have marketing, if you have everything good, Kickstarter is great. But Indiegogo can help those that have great ideas, but maybe the execution isn't as clean. So those are the advantages and disadvantages of Kickstarter and Indiegogo. However, like I said, I'd tell you what I would do. And what I would do is launch on both. So I've pulled up an example. It's a robotic chessboard. It's called Phantom. You can watch the video yourself, but it's great. I love chess. I play a lot. Solid wood pieces, advanced features. Just, it's been so long since the chessboard has been innovated upon, and these guys have done something about that. Wonder Substance is their name. You look at the campaign, they raised $1.9 million, probably in 30 days or 45 days. So they did great, right? I think this aesthetic is good for Kickstarter, right? It's clean. You know, the branding's pretty on point. It's straightforward. It is a bit nerdy, right? Because there's the tech behind it. And so it also would be good for Indiegogo. Now, as you can see, Indiegogo provides a brilliant platform called In Demand right here. In Demand is so that you can launch both, right? You launch on Kickstarter, and then as you're beginning your manufacturing, as you're beginning that process, you launch on Indiegogo In Demand, which is basically like a follow-up campaign. And they have different users, right? For a lot of the reasons that I've talked about already, but they have a very different user base. You know, we're talking probably about millions of people on their email list that use the platform, right? Indiegogo is no chump when it comes to traffic, right? They get significantly less than Kickstarter, but it's still a lot of eyeballs. And so being able to launch on Kickstarter and then right away flip around and launch on Indiegogo, to me is a no-brainer. It will allow you to take advantages of economies of scale. Instead of just doing 5,000 units, you go on Indiegogo and you can do 6,000, 7,000 total. In this case, what's interesting, they raised $2.35 million on Indiegogo In Demand. So they followed up 1.9 on Kickstarter with 2.35 on Indiegogo. Right? That's incredible. They did even better on their In Demand than they did on their Kickstarter. So you definitely want to keep both of those options open. No brainer, use them both, right? It's easy to kind of take your information that you use for your Kickstarter campaign, replicate it, and create an Indiegogo In Demand campaign. I would say at least 2/3 of our customers that are successful on these platforms are launching on both. Take advantage of the eyeballs that both platforms can provide, and take the notes that I've provided to help you understand what the differences are. But like I said, at the end of the day, launch on both. I think you'll see great results. Good luck with your campaign. Peace.